Hi guys, welcome to the shop again. I think we'll continue our walk around here and look at some of the equipment. Trying to make it all the way around this shop eventually and show you what we work with. Anyway, we'll continue on this path. Remember that none of this is sponsored for me. I have a lot of banners on the wall and that, but it's just for decoration basically. Everything in here I've bought and paid for myself. So join along. We'll look at the stuff. First up is the old reliable Chicago Electric bandsaw. There must be millions of these things out there. I've had this one for maybe 30 years and they're almost the same exact pattern that you can buy nowadays. I know there's a lot of videos out there how to improve them in one way or another, but the best improvement I have done with mine is to use good blades. That makes all the difference in the world if you got some good blades, because they cut straight and cut good. It's some of the cheaper blades on the market, they don't cut very straight or very efficiently. But that's the only tip I'd give about these little bandsaws, is to purchase some good blades for them. Next is my anvil in blacksmith area. This anvil was given to me by my daughter for a birthday present. She's very, very thoughtful about what her dad does around the shop, put it that way. It's always enjoyable to hammer on this thing. I do have a propane powered forge that we'll have to do another video on. I'd like to go a little more in depth about that. Forced air propane forge. I'll let you guys know how I build it and what tips I could give you anyway. But a few homemade blacksmith type tools. Benders, twisters, holders, tongs, so forth. Not near as many as a lot of blacksmiths, but I get the job done with them. I'm not a blacksmith, I guess. Next is my, I guess, sheet metal dolly platform. I got 5 different dollies that sit in the top. The stand is homemade. It's kind of like a Pexto type arrangement, but I found all these dollies in a bucket of water, believe it or not, on a farm after a flood that I was helping the person clean out. They cleaned up pretty well. They're good material. I smoothed the faces on them as best I could, but everything cleaned up pretty good. Next is my shop roll holder. This is a shop fabricated deal. Bent sheet metal to fit the slat wall. Keep a good array of shop roll sandpaper up there, handy by the lathe where I use it the most, so that you guys get a little idea to bend some metal and make a holder like this for yourself. Next is my round stock, short round stock holder compartments or rack or whatever you want to call it. This is made out of plywood. I think I sized it so that I could make this thing out of one piece of plywood, and it's real convenient to have all your short pieces of round stock kind of sorted by size, so you don't got to dig through a big bin to find the little piece you need for your job. Comes in handy. Like I said, 1 sheet of plywood. Built that. I got longer pieces of steel storage over here against the wall. Just a little stand-up rack that leans up against the wall. I can't put, my ceilings are 14 foot tall, so that's about a 12-foot piece is what fits well in there. But that's where I keep try to keep it pretty well organized so that a guy can go find that piece of tubing, angle iron, whatever you need, and not have to sort through a lot of stuff. Next up is my Rockwell lathe. This is a good little lathe, 10-inch swing. I think it's a 26-inch bed or 24-inch bed, something like that. It's on its own stand. A year ago, I took this completely apart, pretty much rebuilt everything, restored everything, repainted everything. It wasn't really in too bad a shape. I know of the ownership of this going back 40 years or so, so the guy didn't treat it too badly, but it did need a few places of tender loving care. One thing, I built some riser blocks for the feet to get it up in the air a little bit because it was awful low to the ground to operate for me, and I'm only 5'10", so. And also, I lined the inside of the cabinet with Dynamat that I got from my son. He's the stereo guru in the family, and it really helped with the harmonics of the motor running in there, because it made a lot of racket without that Dynamat in there. It was like throwing nuts in a tin can and shaking it. But that really worked out well. We got a Bosstar quick change AXA size quick change tool post on here, and made a nice little holder for all the quick change tools. They fit right over I think that's 1.5 inch by 1/8 inch stock that the wedge slides right over. And also a nifty little sheet metal tool holder above the lathe to hold the wrenches and centers and tools. But that's my Rockwell lathe. I got to give a lot of credit to the gadget builder. I think he's got a series of photos and stuff where he rebuilt one of these, and there's a couple of good tips in there that came in handy for me to rebuild this one. He'd done a very good job describing what he went through. Next over here we have our Powercraft lathe. Same size as the Rockwell. It's a Powercraft. I think they were sold by Montgomery Wards back in the day. But flat belt drive. It's got a quick change gearbox on it, which is quite rare for these from what I've seen. But I built the stand for it. Big piece of channel iron that it's actually bolted to, and then the pan. Incorporated a shelf with a Craftsman toolbox in there to hold supplies, tools, books, measuring tools. But it's a good little lathe. I've known the ownership of this forever too. But I watched a couple of, I think it's Winky's Workshop. He works on his Logan, and this has got to be a copy or built by Logan or a copy of a Logan, because it's pretty similar to what I see him working on. So maybe parts are available if I ever need them through Logan or whatever. I got an old Craftsman rack hanging behind it with a light. I don't know how old it is, but you can usually date things by the Craftsman insignia on there. But it's kind of a neat old shelf unit, pegboard, before pegboard or whatever, I don't know. But I have only seen this one. I bought this one at a garage sale. It's the only one I've ever seen. But it's all Craftsman, has little shelves to hold the chucks and files and whatever. It works out really good behind this lathe. Okay, next up we got a Craftsman toolbox here for, this is for lathe chucks, tooling, and some measuring equipment. It's always nice to keep everything locked up, not locked up, but inside a toolbox to keep it clean. Measuring tools, some face plates, tooling, collets, collet bar, and a couple chucks down in the bottom that all fit my lathe. They're all 1.5 by 8 screw-on type spindles on my lathe. But anyway, next is a old Inco round column, little tabletop mill. It's a pretty good machine. It's homemade stand for it, hold down tools. It takes a little while to set up sometimes because every time you move it, you got to realign everything because of the round column. There again, there's some videos out there that show you how to improve that situation. But it's just an old Inco, been with me a long time also. Most of my tools I've had for quite a few years. I haven't purchased any new tools in probably the last 10 years, so it's a good old machine, gets me by. Of course, on the wall, the decimal and tap size things are charts. I think in this part of the country, the only thing you can get is Cleveland twist charts. That's all I ever see anywhere. I have some old steel ones. I have a pair of these that are exactly the same, but still the Cleveland Twist Drill Company. That must be the ones you can get around this part of the country, or the popular ones. But little fabricated oil can rack here. Again, fits in my slat wall. I'm kind of an oil can fanatic. I got more oil cans than I need, as you can see. But it's handy to have one on every machine. Here we got this toolbox. It's not a Craftsman, but it looks like a Craftsman. It's milling and drilling, drill bits, mill bits, that type of stuff that I use on my mills. Got a real nice old Little Giant tap set. Goes from 1/4 to 3/4. It's a good old set, pretty much complete. It's got a price of $50 on there. It's probably worth 4 times that much nowadays at least, but I don't know when that $50 was put on there. I had to pay more than that for it. So. But it's always nice to have them big tap handles to go with my milling and everything else. Next is this mill. Oh, by the way, I keep rags on all my tables. They're kind of oil-soaked rags. I notice you see me drag them off there, but that way the tables stay clean and always a little bit oiled up to keep them from rusting. But anyway, this mill is a LX 329 mill bench drilling and milling machine. I don't know the brand name of this. Well, I do, but I'm not going to say. It's not a very good machine. Operation is very sketchy. In fact, it was given to me because it was broke. And luckily I was able to fabricate enough parts to get it going. So, but I think there's still this style on the market out there, but it's a really sketchy machine. Not a very smooth operator for sure. And I had trouble with the table feed motor drive is where the trouble was. Sheared off keys and a bad gear. But the motor was also bad. Well, I don't know if you can see that, but anybody that can translate that on a motor would be not in this country that I know of. At least nobody I know of, put it that way. But luckily, through a few experimentation and making a little smoke, I did get it wired up with the capacitors and got it running again. Got the keyway and the gear fixed in there, but it's very hard to engage the feeds here and here. I don't know I've tried lining the drive shafts and everything, but no luck. It's just not a precision built machine. It's heavy. It weighs 500 some pounds, I think but I wouldn't purchase one if I was going to go out and buy one. I don't know what they cost, but anyway, it gets me by in a pinch. Next is my drill press area. I got 2 Clausing drill presses. They're both about 15-inch drill press. One is a fixed speed and the other one's got a quick change speed dial on it. Good machines. They're real good machines. Can't complain about those. And I built this little stand for in between my drill presses. It's got my large drill bits and used drill bits. I should throw them away, but every now and then I sit down and sharpen a few of them, and then I'm ready to go again for a while. But also I made this rack in between my drill presses that has all the drills lined up like an index. Drill bits, I should say, lined up like the index. Has my hole transfer punches, tap handle holders, size charts. Next shelf up is all my taps, bottom and taper, along with the drill bit right behind it for the corresponding size of hole for the tap. That's real handy to have all in one spot. You don't gotta go searching around. Got some pipe taps and some easy out things. Also, up here I got some spade bits and the countersink bits and a small set of dies and some tap handles. It works out really well to have that all in one spot. That's just all made out of plywood and 2x4s. But it does work out really well to have a convenient location to grab that stuff from. But anyway, that's kind of a look at the machining area. Drill presses, mills, storage for everything, mills, my lathes. So That's the milling part of the shop. Now we'll move over here and look at a little bit of the sheet metal equipment. We have a Rockwell 14-inch bandsaw. Just recently put new drive pulleys on this. I put a 2-inch on the motor and a 12-inch to drive the blade, and it slowed it down quite a bit. I don't know exactly, I haven't calculated the speed of it yet, but it's made it so that I can cut some sheet metal without frying a blade right away, which comes in handy every now and then. I got my old Pexto type stomp shear. I keep a piece of wood on top of there to protect the surface of the shear. Old Pexto 16 gauge. It's a good old machine. My capacity is 16 gauge for this shop, so I don't work on anything over that for sure. At least I can't with this equipment. But this is an old machine. It has a good backstop, measured backstop on it. Helps you cut multiple pieces to a certain size. And then I have my Grizzly finger brake. Again, 16 gauge. So it fits with my stomp shear. All in the 16 gauge capacity. But this is a pretty good machine. Again, it's foreign built, but it does the job. It does have adjustments on it for the thickness of the metal you want to break, and so you can get real thin or up to the 16 gauge, which some of the cheaper ones don't have any adjustment. But anyway, that's the extent of the sheet metal area. Again, just all for hobby work, basically. It's not a job shop, just an enjoyment shop for me. So anyway, I want to thank you all for joining me. Like and subscribe, comment if you can, and tell a friend to watch. I'd appreciate it. We'll be back for the rest of the shop tour and in another video. Thank you very much.